Hey everyone, I just want to create this quick video. There's two things I want to talk about in this one. And the first one, you're going to see on the left side is from Air Canada. One of our viewers named YUL Spotter sent this one over to me. Air Canada is showing its expansion plan for this year. They're going all over the place, except for one. And I'll explain it in this video because it might actually make you do the Antonio Banderas meme. So I'll talk about that one in a minute. Also, many of you probably already know that Korea and Canada have signed an MOU for more trade. I know the haters are going to say, well, it's not a signed deal yet. But I'll explain later why it's actually still really important. But I think there's someone we need to really thank for this. And I'm going to tell you who later. It's not Donald Trump either. Okay, so let me get to this Air Canada report first. So Air Canada published this article on January 28th, titled, More Global Choices, More Cities, More Sunshine Next Winter. Air Canada adds Quito? Did I say that right? Anyways, more Europe year-round and resumes Calgary-Mexico routes. Let me also read out the bullet points to you. New flights to Quito from Montreal and Toronto start December 2026. Toronto-Manchester and Toronto-Copenhagen become year-round as of October 2026, supported by the new Airbus A321 XLR, based in Toronto. They're also expanding winter season service to Rio, Santiago, and Lima. There's also going to be new Calgary service to Cancun and Puerto Vallarta, launching December 2026. And last but not least, a new Vancouver-Sapporo route, announced earlier, the only nonstop flight from North America to Hokkaido. The article also shows a specific timeline and time frame on when these new routes are going to be implemented. To me, it's clear that Air Canada is planning for the next snowbird season. I mean, they have to plan well in advance, and obviously nothing's going to change. So they're already thinking, where should we expand to so that snowbirds can go next year? Obviously, it's not about the snowbirds, but it's about their own profit. But one thing that's missing in all of those charts and all these announcements, the United States. When YUL Spotter sent me this article, the first thing I actually did was looked at the map. You can tell Air Canada is making a big push for expansion. But the whole United States, it's like it doesn't exist. In reality, right now, the United States is a flyover country. Now, some people might think this is not that big of a deal, but you have to think about it this way. Air Canada is already planning its next year's snowbird season, and we already know how this year's going. But if this year's snowbird season was going well to the United States, then I would imagine that Air Canada would be announcing flights to the United States. But they're not. Instead, Air Canada is predicting that in 10 months from now, we're still not going to be wanting to go to the United States. So I'm really glad to see Air Canada expanding their network and giving Canadians more options. And let's not forget, this is just one airline. And I'm pretty sure Air Canada will be announcing more destinations throughout the year. So for the snowbirds that decided to stay home this year, I'm going to guess you're going to have a lot more options when it comes to around September, October. So I want to thank YUL Spotter for sending this over to me. And I think the co-host thanks you as well. Now, over to the Hyundai topic. We all remember this lady, right? She was the one who was bragging that she called ICE on the Korean workers that were there to help in terms of building their plant. I saw this video from this guy and I thought it was pretty funny.
That lady who called ICE on those South Koreans at the Hyundai plant in Georgia, South Korea responded.
Now, in my opinion, I think this woman had a big part in it. Of course, the Orange McNugget is the biggest reason. But at the same time, I think if she didn't call ICE, there might not have been that big of an issue between the United States and South Korea when it came to Hyundai. So yes, I guess we have to thank this woman for having a potential deal with South Korea when it comes to auto manufacturing and even minerals. Now let's recap what this woman said after she was in the spotlight.
No, I didn't cost Georgia jobs, okay? I didn't know about the Korean visas, which I've said time and time again. I did not know about that. That is not what I reported. Deal with it. It'll get fixed.
Yeah, it didn't get fixed for you guys, but it's definitely a positive for Canada and South Korea. Now, I totally get that it's in the MOU stage right now, but I've been involved in a few of them myself, usually with company mergers. You can't go straight to a deal without determining the responsibility on both sides. That's just asking for trouble, signing something without planning. Right now is really the planning stage. Now, I'm not in the automotive sector and I don't know what would be needed, but I'm sure there's discussions about what South Korea will handle and what Canada will handle. How many teams are going to be needed? The logistics, the procurement, the compliance, and even the legal. All of that needs to be settled first before any sort of signed agreement can be done. But if you ask me, if the Orange McNugget never happened, I'm not quite sure we would be having this potential MOU at the moment. So in my opinion, this is a positive thing, just like the China EV deals that are happening at the same time. Now I want to show you a quick report just kind of summarizing what I've talked about.
We begin with developing news in Canada's precarious auto sector tonight and a potential new partnership with another country that has also been targeted by Donald Trump's tariffs, South Korea. CTV News can confirm Canada has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Southeast Asian country, which includes talks on bringing South Korean auto manufacturing to Canada. Now, that could include vehicles, parts, or batteries. A trade delegation, including representatives from Hyundai, met with the industry minister this week.
These are very friendly discussions between two countries that have found themselves with extremely similar geopolitical dynamics and similar economies, and in many ways complementary. And that was our main message.
Officials from another South Korean company trying to win a contract to build Canadian submarines were also part of the discussions.
I can hear the haters now. Oh, it's just a discussion. Well, discussions happen before anything is signed. And if and when it is signed, you can be sure that there's going to be jobs for Canada. Unlike General Motors right now, where they are laying off up to 1,200 jobs, which relates to the Orange McNuggets tariffs. I don't understand why Doug Ford is so protective of the United States auto industry, when they are the one that are pulling out of Canada. You can see in the screenshot here, GM caving to the orange guy, National Union says. You can also tell I'm looking for a desk, which I already bought. I got one of those stand-up desks now, so it's definitely easier on my body. But my point is that the longer we stay loyal to the United States auto industry and the less partnerships we make elsewhere, the more it's just going to hurt us. So I really hope this Hyundai partnership really does go through, because Canada definitely needs a plan B and plan C. And when it does get signed and Canada takes over the factory responsibilities that the United States had, I'm going to attribute it to that woman who called ICE on those Korean workers. All right, everyone, that's all I got for this short video. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian perspective, help out my channel by hitting the like and subscribe button below. Thanks everyone, I'll see you in the next one.